because I think it's important, but I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
want to
you're
leave this
good.
meeting. All right.
Okay.
All right.
All right,
I
I'll talk to you
appreciate it.
later.
All
Bye.
right.
Thank you very much for seeing us, sir.
Yep. Anytime. I wanted to. I haven't really had too much of a chance to talk to officers around Ship One because it's normally coffee time for me.
All good.
But I
That's
want to make
understandable.
sure
No problem.
I did that, especially with everything that's kind of moving around and whatnot. Is
Understandable.
how you doing,
Absolutely
Tyler?
understandable.
I'm doing good. I can't complain. How you doing, Mr. Nino?
I'm doing all right. Not too bad. Cooking away, legislation left and right, taking on meetings, all that. Albert.
Yeah, thank you for bringing back Stop and Go. That's big.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that we got in the pipeline. It just takes a while to like make sure it's like good before we push it up to the DOJ. We got like marijuana legalization coming through, or decriminalization, jaywalking. We got a website where all the updates are gonna go, videos, advertising spot, Los Santos, GPS locations and stuff for events.
Wow.
We got Chamber of Commerce that is now kicking off. That's why tow pay is all the way down, because we're trying to elevate tow companies. Like, we want people to make tow companies and then get certified for being like PD tow, so you can rely on trustable sources instead of,
I like that.
rolling the dice. What is it? Music Consortium, we're kicking off this week. So there's actual like competition in the music space, right? And reason to go to a concert beyond like just someone singing the same fucking 5 songs that we've been hearing for the past 5 years. What else? Yeah, quite a bit.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, what can we do for you?
Well, I want to hear how your experience has been in the last couple months, and understand that anything that's said in this room remains here in regards to like anonymity. But the reason I would like open honesty and transparency, and like, however it is you feel, because without that information, I can't make reasonable decisions, or objective ones. I have to go off of what I've learned so far.
Understandable. I actually quite like that you do that, to be honest.
Yep.
As I said to you on the phone, in a couple of days I'll be a state marshal. And as the same as I said on the phone, it's not because I'm unhappy with PD. It's just something that it's a personal goal of mine, essentially. Like I said to you, I was in the London Met, and then in Scotland Yards, and then I was asked to come here to assist with PD as a transfer. So I came, and then I was told about the marshals, heard about what they're about and what they're going to get into, and that's the kind of policing that I want to do. I want to go and do proper investigations into big groups that are out there, and not necessarily be tied down by patrol work that it's more or less the same every day. An environment like that sounds very attractive to me, and I think that's where a lot of my passion lies. So I want to give it a try and see what it's like.
Oh, that's interesting. Wait, so the marshals are going to be handling gang investigations?
Yeah, any kind of investigation, whether it be into corruption, whether it's some kind of complaint within the police department, keeping an eye on, basically everything, like literally everything. It's not limited to just corruption within PD or anything like that.
How does out of my own curiosity, because this is actually I didn't know this. Maybe it's like written somewhere, or it was said in passing. Keep in mind, like, there's so much documentation, right? There could be a sentence somewhere, and unless you're aware about the meaning behind the sentence, it might. So my understanding was that the marshals were a stopgap for any of the departments stepping out of line. Number 2, for any incidents that involve state level, like bad shit happening, like, you know, July 3rd. But this is the first time I'm hearing, like, so you're telling me that if, you know, Cyprus is believed to be doing a crimes, the marshals would go and investigate it and not BCSO and LSPD?
I think it would be a mixture of, so it's like marshals are there to assist with that, and also to check in on investigations to make sure things are happening. I mean, prime example
I
for
see.
me, like, you know, you're aware of we've had 3 deaths in officers being killed in line of duty, and none of those have been successful cases. That is something that irks me, if I'm honest with you, sir, because we're meant to be one and together, regardless of what department we're in, working together, being there for each other. And I think seeing situations where there hasn't even been funerals for those officers, seeing situations where officers go down.
Holy shit! Really?
In the line of in the line of duty.
Oh my god!
And it doesn't exactly instill a sense of brotherhood, sisterhood. You know what I mean? So I've been really intent on encouraging the latest one that's being worked on, and this is to do with the situation that happened yesterday also. I was pushing Forte, because he was the investigator at the time, who has now lost his job, you may also be aware. He was working on the case for 22 days.
Wait, who was? Sorry?
Forte?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so he was let go recently. And he was the primary on the case, and I was trying to do a lot of encouragement to go out and try and actually, you know, get questioning done. You know, go after people where we've had shootouts. We had shootouts them where police equipment was stolen. I mean, Peters can attest to this too.
I feel like I'm missing something.
There was a situation with a warrant where people were trying to narrow the scope, where the scope should have been wide fucking open, if you excuse my language. To get an effective job done. Now, thankfully, because Peters assisted with that, it looked like that actually happened. So I'm glad I was pushing for it, because it needed to be done. And we can't have another situation where somebody's murder just gets under the radar and just swept under the rug and it's just gone because the 30 days are up. You know, have to move fast.
Yeah,
really fast.
Understandable.
So
yeah,
I don't know. That's something that bothered me, but that's really the only thing. And aside from that, my time in LSPD I've really enjoyed. I've been given a lot of opportunities. I was promoted to senior officer pretty damn quickly, which was really nice. And I've been enjoying working with everybody that I've been on duty with. I'm also aware the time like patrolling is a little bit kind of goes a little bit under the radar sometimes, you know.
Yeah,
it's could be a quiet time, and sometimes, you know, what was it, last week I got on duty, it was me and one other officer on duty. And I felt terrible because at the same time I knew I was going to hand in my notice for the department, which is why I gave 7 days to try and make sure there's a crossover.
Yeah, that's kind of been sort of the heart of my concern. Already had slight concerns over the splitting of LSPD and BCSO. As a outsider looking in, to me, there was already enough turmoil that when you split the baby in half, there's already going to be tensions. And now, you know, now both babies got a mommy and daddy, right? And so in that sort of environment, now, you know, finding a solution gets significantly complex, even if that's assuming even a solution exists. So here's how I'm looking at it, and I'd like to get your opinion on this. There's 2 counties, 2 separate budgets. That's going to have some sort of implication in the long term. Maybe not in the next couple of weeks, but maybe over the next 2-3 months, where there is inherently a level of division of responsibility, right? Now, in those 3 months, it's paramount that both the BCSO and the LSPD thrive to the point where they got numbers, they got officers that can at least hold their own in simple court cases, at least, right? Maybe not murder trials and stuff like that. I know that can take some time, but at least simple ones, right? Like a robbery or a, like, you know, involvement in a gang shooting, whatever. The issue that I see even within the LSPD is there's very little leadership there's very little experience in leadership, and there's very little experience in general. It's a lot of rather fresh cops with a couple experience, like sitting around. So now all of a sudden, those guys are kind of holding the bag, right? While simultaneously, there's, you know, I what, 3 academies in 6 weeks, but numbers aren't going up, right? So I'd like to understand, like, why do you think that's happening, or why do you know that's happening? If you have better insight.
I honestly, sir, I wish I had an answer for you on that one. I guess it was of my personal opinion for a while that people didn't necessarily have the stamina or necessarily have what it takes to be an officer in this city, because it's not an easy job and it's a lot to get used to, especially when you're fresh. And there's a lot to deal with. There's a lot of I guess alternate thinking you have to do sometimes to get through specific situations, and there's a lot of scenarios you run into as an officer that may not be necessarily of the norm, but you just have to improvise and adapt, overcome, right? That was my opinion. I don't know, I'm not 100% whether that's the case or not. It's really, I don't have an answer on that one, I'll be honest. I don't know why people don't come on duty. I really don't. Sorry, go on.
What I'm about to say is purely speculation based on many conversations of me attempting to derive a reason. So let me know if this is a reasonable take.
Okay.
Of offices that I see, like new ones, and this is over the past while, is a lot of these fresh cadets look like you found them in the tow yard. And so it shouldn't be surprising that they can't drive, or that when they get yelled at for the first time by a criminal, that they may not show up anymore. Is the application process even properly filtered to begin with? In other words, those candidates that are even brought into academy, is it possible that the filtering is just extremely poor? And this is not to say that those people are, like, you know, bad people, but not everyone's, you know, if you haven't been around in Los Santos, you know, you may not know what to expect. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Absolutely, yeah. It's you know, if you're, let's say you just get off the plane and immediately become a police officer, that's gonna be a tough fucking time.
Yeah,
for sure.
Or, like, at minimum, maybe you have a cousin that's used to be around. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
you know, who might have told you stories.
Sure. Yeah.
All right, can I interject? I know this is your guys' meeting. I don't want to.
Yeah, go ahead.
To build on that, I don't know if that's. I mean, that could be the case, right? Obviously, I think I said this to you before, but it's a complex problem which requires a complex solution. Like, it's not as. I don't think it's as simple as, like, hey, if we do this, then everything will be fixed. But I do notice
agree.
from my perspective.
Nizo, thank you for the 22 months.
And this isn't. I'm not throwing anyone under the bus here, but I would say the first issue is I feel like people. I don't know if it's command that's limited or whatever, but it feels like there's very few people that have a fucking spine in the police department, which goes on to say, like, that being said, I think you also have a community issue, right? Where it's like what are you know, everybody has to have purpose in life. I mean, in purpose in small things, whether it's your job or your fucking home life or whatever. But it's like, you know, coming on.
Yo, Kitchen,
duty,
thank you for the 3 months. That's strong. Thank you for the 22
what's your
months.
Purpose? What's your sense
Thank you,
of
guys.
community in that? And I think tying the spineless shit
Yo, chat,
into
19.
My
2800, baby.
be, you know, like you said, you know, a cadet comes on duty, maybe they get yelled at for something. It's like, why would they want to come on duty again? I mean, yesterday we had that issue with we had a situation which was a clusterfuck. It was very unfortunate. I mean, the tensions the tensions were so high that I just went off duty. I was like, fuck this. Like, I don't want anyone to snap on me. instead of kind of like it turned into a blame shifting game. It sounded like versus kind of like people taking responsibility and being like, hey, you know what? This is where we fucked up. This is where we're going to do better in the future. I do feel like there's a lot of blame shifting going on versus taking responsibility and just being like, hey, you know what?
So
We'll do better next time.
I have found that blame shifting tends to be a side effect of being in a unproductive environment, right? Like, in other words, and I'm not saying it should happen, but it's I think that tends to be like a consequence, like it brews from that, right? Like you're talking about the Hydra raid, I'm assuming.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, that was embarrassing, right? And I'm not saying in a shitty way, trying to say that in a shitty way. It's just, you know, imagine you like I'm trying to put myself in y'all's shoes, and it's like, well, you have a bunch of cops, you try to raid a gang, and instead you get shot and you lose a bunch of class 2s, right? Like that's gonna brew a lot of feelings. What?
They got class 2s now?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
They got our class 2s, yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, yes, 100%.
So I'm not saying the blame shifting should happen, but I'm saying I'm not surprised. Like it happens outside of the PD as well, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's just life.
Yeah. But going back to the hiring thing, and I do agree with you, Tyler, that it's not going to be a singular thing. But what I'm sort of trying to suss out here is there's a couple things that I kind of believe might be occurring, and I'm trying to evaluate if those various things have any credence to it, right? To better understand it myself. And so kind of bringing back the question, do you think maybe the screening process is not effective?
I'm not sure whether it's the screening process that's the problem. It's just more so that during this shift time, there's a lot more newer cops than there are experienced cops. And as a result, it drags down amount of FTO's training because everybody gets burned out training brand new people constantly. I think that, you know, the solution to this, if there was one, should have happened months ago, where they should have just hired people that actually were able to get on duty and not have to be trained from the ground up, especially on things to do with PC and RS. I mean, we've got officers that don't know that stuff, which is just what?
How do you begin?
Yeah. So, you know, like, and I think that's really where a lot of these issues stem from.
I mean, we got command that don't know the difference between PC and RS.
Yeah, and the use of force matrix too.
What? In the LSPD?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I mean, it's...
what are you asking me? Which command members don't know that?
Correct.
Oh, it's not. To my knowledge, not command members. It's just officers.
Yeah, office is 100%. I mean, that's why I'm not surprised Forte's fired. This fucking dumbass arrested someone and then on the stand said, "Well, I'm a forgetful. I don't know why I arrested him." Oh. So I don't. And this guy had a detective vest on, so I know.
I've heard in interviews for state marshals there were current officers who weren't able to answer stuff correctly. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's I had a conversation with a cop and I told him, like, you know, there's a lot of the conversation was there's all this crime happening in the city, so we got to go to all of that stuff. So if it comes to that needs to be priority over training and making sure you're doing things right and, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I said, well, if you just go to every call and you're not training new officers, then your numbers aren't going to increase. And if you're going to every call and you're not finishing that call by finishing your work, that includes making sure reports are in, et cetera, then you are literally LARPing as an officer. You are throwing someone in and saying, hopefully they won't check my work. Which is why then when a lot of these cases end up before a judge, it falls flat. Not because of some complex legal loophole, but because of something as simple as, did you even have RS? Which is not good. And in that atmosphere, if you're trying to, you know, train new cops up, like how are they ever gonna be successful? So
Exactly. It's basically just setting them up to fail. And I think Command have been in a position where like their hands are tied with specific things. So, you know, it's a rough circle of shit basically. So it just, you know, just they need a lot more experienced people on duty to be able to cope with the amount of new hires that they've made. That's the bottom line. And if they don't do that, all it's going to be is a circle of FTOs just getting constantly burned out, and not wanting to train people, which means our numbers don't increase, which is literally the situation we're in right now.
Yeah,
I don't particularly want to train a brand new person either.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Knowing how many have attended academy and then seeing, you know, I personally am of the opinion that hand selecting a few that are very intelligent or have family members that, you know what the fuck they were doing is realistically the only solution right now. Because the rest is living in La La Land. Yeah, you might be able to wake up in the morning and be like, yeah, I'm sure I can be on duty today, but a month from now, you're going to be in the same spot and possibly worse.
And I worry about Command's sanity with that as well, because they're going to be trying to get results done, and it's going to be frustrating. It's going to be frustrating. Being Command for this PD has got to be an absolute nightmare. I'm not going to lie. It's not a job that I would like to do personally.
Nobody wants to be high command for LSPD.
Nobody?
Pretty much.
That's
why not? What do you mean?
Because I think they see the writing on the wall and they don't want to be the ones with the name.
Spineless. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Somebody has to fucking step up.
And then of the ones they do a fucking don't know how to lead. Like objectively.
Where do I put my application in?
Let's talk afterwards.
Okay.
I'm serious about that. It's really bad. It's really bad. I have I'll put it this way. There is literally only one candidate. I'm not even making a choice. Unless I want to fuck you guys in the ass, which I don't want to see, because at the end of the day, LSPD is my legacy. It's that bad. I have spoken to Ruth, Turner, and Aldo. None of them are interested. Turner, maybe. I have spoken to cops. Yeah, I've been cooking the last month. I've probably spent about 40 hours just talking to cops, trying to understand what to do. And there's very, the unfortunate thing is most of my pressure to even make a decision is coming from just do it because it'll be good for a week. You know what I mean? And that's not how I function. You know,
that's fair.
I'm looking for long-term solutions and plans, because if you don't have a plan, then what the fuck are you doing? And any kind of command role, to be honest.
You're like a pharaoh setting up his kingdom for the future pharaoh.
Precisely.
Same kind of shit.
I mean, eventually I'm going to, be out of this office, and I'm not looking to live in fucking Chirac, you know what I mean?
Yeah, me neither.
So, I mean...
I got to say, Ruth, Turner, and Aldo are fantastic.
Yeah.
And I miss them.
I do, too. I think they had undue pressure to quickly expand a police force at a rate that wasn't reasonable and put in a command structure due to a small dick pussy that mostly just wanted to, who assumed the point of power just to try to convince everyone he had a bigger dick than he really did.
Oh, shit.
We have been in millions of dollars of debt on a daily basis. Most of our legislation is useless. Most of my time of the last 50 hours in what is today day 8, alongside 4 other cabinet members, have been cooking legislation because not even the basics exist. And the unfortunate reality is, when I look at the police force and, any kind of form of oh my God, people were excited a month ago to be around. Who the fuck wouldn't be excited? If someone came with me and gave me a fucking gun and said I can shoot and detain and put anyone in jail without cause, I'd fucking take that in a heartbeat. That's why people join the militias. If they said, yo, hey, You can stop fucking shooting at anybody you want. But anyways,
Yeah.
I'm here to build.
I think
Who do
you're
you
getting
think
off
should
on the
be
right
chief?
foot. Oh. What are the options?
You tell me. I could pull someone off the street and make him chief.
Jesus. I'd like to see someone in chief that's along the same lines as Aldo. Like, I'd like to see a mix between, and this is probably impossible, between Aldo, Ruth, and Turner. That's what I'd like to see personally. I think
Aldo and Ruth aren't
having,
coming back. They've already told me.
it's a shame.
Yeah.
Who is like that then? That's a good question.
And Turner, the problem is, one requirement would be the chief and the ass chief have to be in shift 1 and shift 2. And the reason is a logistical one. You don't have high command in shift 2, there's going to be fucking World War III in a couple weeks. Am I wrong?
No, sir.
Yeah.
Sorry. I don't even know who. The thing is, I don't even know who would want to be the chief. So it's who do I think would be a good chief?
Craft
I like Peter's attitude towards things as well. Him and I actually share a very similar outlook on policing, to be honest with you. We haven't known each other very long, but I think we share a very similar outlook. But I think having me personally, I respond to strong leadership. I like strong leadership. I like someone who has a backbone. I like someone who is okay with cops pushing the boat out a little bit in charges to maybe try and create some change, or maybe some instill discussion about legislation and things like that.
Do I have the dual box chat?
I like police being encouraged to do police work and not to be afraid to do police work. Yeah, there's a lot really. I just don't know who in LSPD currently wants that and fits all that.
Well,
I know
let's say
Viv,
they all did. Who would your picks be?
shit.
You guys starting to see my issue, right? And Nino's issue. Yeah, exactly. There's nobody. That's you know what I'm saying.
That's a very difficult question, sir. I'm sorry. I need to take a moment to think about that.
No, of course. You can take it.
I think so Viv for me in shift 1 as lieutenant has always been very helpful. Whenever I've approached her about something, she has been very forthcoming. Like when I approached her with my 7 days notice, she said some very, very kind things, and I generally like her and her outlook on things. I think she's a pretty good leader, although I haven't seen enough of field work, to be honest with you, because my shift time is just different. So like I'm generally going off duty when she's getting on duty. So.
Interesting.
I'm like 3 into 1 is where I sit.
Our policy that Los Santos County is going to have is chief is going to be very administrative heavy, whereas the ass chief is going to be a little bit more patrol heavy. And this is a big part of that is because right now the PD needs to be built. So, it's kind of like me. Look at me. This is my life. Last 8 days.
I feel you. I think that's good. If they're not getting tied down to patrol work, that's definitely a good thing. That's they need the time to be able to think about things and move things forward, and not have like getting on duty and then being called to a fucking laundromat or something.
No.
To be honest with you,
I would be very disappointed if the chief of police wasn't spending like 80% of the time in the office, because it is a coordinating job. You are coordinating and letting the shift commanders run that shift. They know the shift the best. They know how it operates. They know it's a different vibe, etc., etc. Getting on patrol, getting out there is just giving. You might as well just stop putting your phone number out there to be a complaint line.
Yeah.
Leave that to the commanders. It's
That's
how I'd run this office. I'm not writing the legislation. 2 of my attorneys are. I'm not running the business shit, Eve is, right? I just make sure that it's a well-oiled machine, you know.
I respect that.
And
That's good.
that's
There's
how I
others
see
in
the
command.
chief.
Oh,
All right, go ahead.
Okay. No, I'm sorry to interrupt you, sir. My bad.
No. That's all I was saying.
Okay. I like it, there's another as well in the command team that I like as Nakoda. I think he's very good at dealing with patrol stuff because he's been around for a while. And the way that, so example, there was a situation where cops were being wiped, and he came on duty with next to no info at all, but managed to defuse the situation, sort out the problem that was there, which I think it was something to do with besties. I don't recall exactly what the problem was, but there was something going on which was rare because besties don't really shoot cops that often. I mean, especially before that, I don't think
The
they.
Little Soul incident.
No, I was present for that.
I was there
a
for
different
that.
one.
It was I mean, a call was made. There was like 4 interference vehicles. A car struck a cop. I made a call to shoot the individual. Besties felt
Oh,
it was
yeah.
unjust. They found out I made the call, so then they hunted me down.
Jesus.
That was a TLDR.
Yeah,
I got you.
Dakota got on duty, and with like no information, he managed to solve the scenario, get officers back, and obviously we had to give away suspects and whatnot and arrest. But the important thing was getting the officers out there alive, and that's what he did. I like that, and the fact that he's willing to have a conversation and to not have an ego too big enough to admit defeat in a situation like that. I think that's really important. I think it's really important. And I also think that to be a good leader, you have to be a good follower. So I don't know. I think that's a skill for people to pick up.
I do not disagree. It's once again relating it to myself. If Eve comes around and says, "Hey, we need to do these things in the business world," and I'm just like, "No," and I just slap my hand and do whatever the fuck I want, well, now she's not empowered, and I'm not leading on her skill set. And you know,
That's good leadership. I like that. And that's what the PD needs. PD needs someone who can delegate and create a team of people underneath them, so that the support network is created, and you have a team doing everything autonomously. And if you know, and then you're at the top overseeing and interjecting if you need to. Like that. That's what needs to happen.
Well, I think that's another thing, right? Is the chief needs to put people beneath them that is going to build a team and not just stick their friends there. Not to say that whoever does get selected, that'll happen, but I do think that's crucial to the success of any police department is the team you have beneath you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
On the way to 100 months.
Yeah, I'm sorry not to answer your question more directly, sir,
no,
regarding who I think would be good. It's just a very difficult question.
I think your hesitation is in of itself what I was expecting. It's very slim pickings.
Yeah.
And
yes.
If anything, that's also a reflection of the poor state that things are currently in, right?
Yeah.
Because if it's hard to pick a chief, then well, there's probably not many. You know, who the fuck is running the rest of the show? You know, on a day-to-day basis. What do you what is it that you think the PD needs in order to boost morale, knowing full well that you're not going to tell gangs to relax, because that's never going to be an option. It's just reality, right?
Yes, I agree. I think they need to see a strong group of cops on duty with them that are carrying out their duties effectively and are able to lead them into victory. I think that's what they need. I could sit here and be like, wow, they need faster cars and better guns and fucking, you know, thermal vision detector thingies where you can see everybody through walls. I don't think that's necessarily what people want.
No.
It's more so
well,
about
they want it, then they go to the marshals for that.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. That's very true. Yeah, it's and then the other thing is, I've always been of the opinion where you could give a monkey a banana, but it doesn't mean they know what to do with it. Okay, and it's just like, yes, we have class 2s now, as that showed yesterday. That doesn't mean shit. It doesn't mean anything. I don't care. people could be like, well, it's 50 versus 6. How they lose that? Well, it happened. How did it happen? Well, watch. It happened.
Yeah.
You know, it's and it's, yes, I agree with you as well. That is embarrassing. I am sad for Denzel because I think he was of the right mindset and suggested certain things happen, but then certain things were pushed either way. And that blows my mind, to be honest with you. I mean, if the lead of TRT, the TAC unit, is saying we shouldn't do this today because of these reasons, why the fuck wouldn't you listen to that? That is crazy.
Wait. Well, okay. He said don't do it today. Who overrode him?
Someone who's working on the case. And the reason for that was, actually, I don't know if I know the reason for that.
Okay.
Never mind. I don't know the reason for that, sir.
Okay. No worries.
Oh no, I do. That's a lie. I'm sorry. It's been a long day. I apologize.
Chat, look at all the retards exposing
statute of
themselves.
limitations is getting close. So when Johnson took over the case, it was 22 days from the incident, and that's where I was trying to encourage Forte to get stuff done. Then he got fired. Case got dumped on Johnson, and yeah, that's why he wanted to do that. Which I understand.
Reporting in, sir. I'm the monkey that puts the banana in my butt.
Also, if the TAC lead is saying
instead of peeling it,
bad, bad tactically wise, we shouldn't do this today, then I'd listen to him. I don't know how much Command were aware of yesterday's operation, but I'm of the opinion that I think Command should have to go through
Medi banana
sign
chat
off on operations before they happen. Not because I don't think Denzel can organize one. I know he absolutely can. But because they need to actually know what the fuck is going on and not just expect to be told. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, this is good. Okay.
PD comms are not good.
Yeah.
Not good at all. So that's a big thing that's got to change.
The thing is, like, Hydra's got their shit together, right? And yeah, you're right. 30, 40 cops, if there's not, the training's not there, right? It doesn't just automatically come out of nowhere, right? And I remember a time where we used to wipe you guys with, like, just 4 of us. And,
4?
Yeah.
Good God.
Yep.
Okay.
Get a vehicle, find a spot, pop this one. Everyone looks that way. Then you pop the ones in the back. Our radios were better back then, though. This is a long time back. I've changed my life around. Actually, y'all never actually knew I was involved, to be honest.
Well, it's way past statute of limitations now, sir.
Yeah. I used to sell guns right behind Mission Row PD.
What?
Yeah, right around the corner. Nobody noticed.
It's crazy how many things probably go on right underneath our noses, but we have no idea, so...
I can promise you no one puts even a tenth of that effort anymore.
Well, we're probably not very afraid of the PD.
Yep. And to me, that's perhaps one of my motivations. If I ever get bored, a couple years from now, right? Wouldn't it be very interesting if PD's like, to use your example, putting the banana in the ass instead of peeling it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I really do try and encourage PD to go and do things despite unit number issues. And I just, if we're always breaking off because of numbers, it just makes us look weak, to be honest.
Yeah.
If you try and do something, that does garner respect.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I mean, there's some times where it's just like completely, if we went in somewhere we were certainly going to die, then yeah, going there would be a stupid idea. But if it was something that we could try and challenge and then potentially break off further down the line if necessary, then they should. And
I remember what I was going to ask.
I just think there's a lot of people who are afraid to do things sometimes just because we're low on people during this time. And it's just like, well, if we never do anything, what are we doing? We have to try and do something. So
outside of the police department, who are the top 3 people you would bring back either to assist the police, the LSPD, or to lead the LSPD?
Who would I bring? I don't know anyone that was here previously, sir. I'm sorry.
Oh, right. Fuck. Yeah. True. Well, that's awkward.
Yeah, I'm sorry, sir. My apologies.
No, totally.
I don't think Peters can answer that either, unfortunately.
Oh, Peters might. His memory sometimes like.
Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes.
Do you remember anyone, Peters, that you could suggest here?
This guy kept talking about a call sign to me. I don't know why the fuck he was bringing that up.
Brian Knight and William Gunner.
Brian Knight, isn't he a cop?
I don't think so.
Oh. Fuck.
Yeah, he's a cop.
Oh, real? Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah. Me personally,
you know,
I would
maybe
like
I'll
to
just
see...
YOLO it and make that guy chief. Yeah.
Really? Cool.
Yeah, I heard he wasn't much of a pussy. He was willing to do whatever it took.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's what the PD needs, a strong leader like that to lead them into battle, to inspire them to be around, to inspire them to be police officers and go and do things and not worried about getting fucking shit canned. You know what I mean? That's what they need.
Yeah. I think
that is what they need.
I think the balance, right? And this has been kind of the thing that I've been trying to, and it's been the biggest challenge for me to, from an outsider trying to evaluate. There's the going in and shoving your foot up someone's ass, right? But making sure you're doing it when it's necessary and legal.
Yep.
Right. And
yep.
I found that it seems like from an outsider, it seems there's a lot of one or the other and not knowing what the in-between looks like. Right? Like,
yep.
But is there any other questions you got for me, things you want to bring up that you might think is relevant for my, decision making?
I don't think so, sir. I think I've said everything I could say.
Okay.
At this point.
All right.
I will say, though, if you have anything going forward and I can assist as a state marshal, then please do get in touch. I'll be very happy to help. I know we also
needs to be investigated. Kadacha probably call you soon, unless she brings it up to Angel first. This motherfucker is just straight up like lying on the stand and reports all kinds of shit like that. I don't know how long he's been doing it, but it's nasty.
Yeah, it looks like I've got a case. I'm more than happy to speak to Kit. I'm good friends with her. She's lovely.
Okay.
So I can speak with her
Easy.
about that. Okay. All right,
and I was mildly involved in one of those cases, and I know damn well this guy's fucking lying out of his ass.
Oh, shit. Okay. I might come and ask you some questions regarding that when I've got more info. If that's okay with you, sir.
Perfect.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time. I will look into this. I'll also speak to Director Angel regarding this as well.
Okay. I would chat with Kit first, just because,
Oh, I can do that.
She's the lawyer on the case. It's a docket case, and she's trying to, she's kind of leading it on the other side of the spectrum. So I don't want to like overstep on her decisions.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
right.
I'll speak to her as soon as possible, sir.
All right, easy.
All right. Thank you very much for seeing us.
Appreciate you guys. My door and phone is always available.
Thank you.
When do you want me to come by and talk to you?
Oh, can you give me 15 minutes?
Yeah. No, I mean, I could. Do you need more time? I could come by after. The
No, I just have to make a quick phone call.
Yeah, you're good.
All right, easy.
I'll be back in. We'll call it 20.
Okay, sounds good.
You should definitely have that meeting.
I think one of the things that gets overlooked is